It is Bones. And in this one, let's go ahead and do a topic video. Now, this topic has pretty much blown up these recent days here on the interwebs. And although I did hear about it, and I heard everybody going wild online about it, I've been a little busy, so I kind of wanted to wait and, let it soak in and think about it, investigate it a little bit, and finally make up my own opinion about the new collector set of the Joker with Murray Franklin and the whole little set that comes with that. Now, the main thing I heard was people losing their mind over the price point. And if you've been following me for a while, you pretty much know where I stand on this. And that is, settle down, take a breath. It's not going to end your world. And let's look at this in a little bit more of a calculated manner. Now, at first, when this came out, tons of people online on the YouTubes making their videos about their reaction to the $250 price point for this set. Definitely have to bring up our old friend, Dork Spider David. You know this guy. The guy, that pretty much craps on McFarlane for everything. But even up to this day, I mean, I don't watch his videos, and he basically keeps buying McFarlane, keeps reviewing it, and I take that basically as that he's going for the hate views because he's super, super negative about McFarlane. But like your typical moron, he keeps buying it and reviewing it, which in all actuality, he's probably pretty smart about that because that is what gets him the views. Now, for somebody who really doesn't care about views, it kind of made me laugh that the video I did see of him talking about this set was where he was driving in his car and he's like, oh, I had to get this off my chest. I just saw how much this set is and blah, 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 blah. I didn't really pay attention too much and watched a little bit of it. But yeah, typical reaction from a nonsensical freak. But he has his opinion. That's fine. I have my own opinion. And that's basically what we're going to talk about here. Now, another thing, if you have followed me for a while, you know what I usually say, and that is that don't lose it, don't go crazy. It's up to you how to spend your money. You do not have to buy everything that McFarlane releases for the DC multiverse. And although I do get where people say, but he should be doing the prices that is best for us. In fact, I think they released some sort of half-hearted statement about why it was priced so much. And I did consider that when I was, thinking about making this video. But of course, let's be real here. Price is always going to be a factor. Now, although not perfect, which of course no action figure line is, McFarlane is pretty much still keeping the dream alive. $20 figures that are beautifully sculpted, some nice designs, good rounded out articulation, and sometimes you do get a good amount of accessories. Now, of course, there are some bombs. Along with every victory that you get with a great figure, you do get some pretty bad ones that, are pretty forgettable. But for the most part, McFarlane does have a large following. If you look on Instagram, there are hundreds of people that are dedicated to the DC Multiverse line, showing pictures, showing their figures, doing dioramas. Custom work is a big part of the McFarlane DC Multiverse line. So you're going to see all of that online. So if anybody tries to tell you that McFarlane sucks, McFarlane doesn't have no following, that is just not true. But let's go ahead and get into the actual set. Now, the first thing I did find out is that this movie is pretty controversial. Now, when it first came out, a lot of, contradicting, people hating it, people loving it. I got to give my honest opinion, and that is that when I first saw that Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, I thought it was very good. I mean, the first week or so, I was really interested in it. Rewatched it a couple of times and still thought it was a solid movie, delving deep into the mental aspects of the origin of the Joker, taking us on some new adventures, new ideas about the Joker, which I thought worked pretty well. A lot of highlights in the film, a lot of surprising things that were unexpected in the film. So, in the end, I thought it was a very good Joker film, not necessarily faithful to the comics, but carving out its own presence. So, really enjoyed it. Now, I do have to say that over time, I kind of lost a lot of enthusiasm that I had at first when watching that Joker film. So eventually, I just lost interest, haven't rewatched it in a long time, basically becoming a great film, good film, but just something that didn't really connect with me enough to obsess about it or want to see, you know, movie memorabilia and stuff like that, which is a part of this set. Now, I did eventually make my own Arthur Fleck Joker figure. This is using Mattel parts from a Mattel figure, which I always, did have an affinity for. Gave him his gun and a cigarette. Loved the way the shoes came out on this one. But it was just a custom I did. I think it might even be on my channel in an older video. Well, once again, I have to go back to what I was saying, and that is that not one of my favorite customs. It is pretty cool. I do have it displayed where I have my movies, my DVDs of DC, and it sits there in the shelf, but I pretty much don't go back to it or anything. Now, this gets us into about the property of the Joker. Now, it was so polarizing when it came out that for some reason Warner Brothers kind of has like they feel like it feels like they feel ashamed of the Joker. Even the director, for some reason, I think he wanted it to resonate with a certain part of people, and it didn't. It resonated with people that they didn't want it to resonate with. I mean, as far as I can tell, that is what happened. Now that takes us into part Dukes or part two of Joker, which I wasn't excited about. I mean, I kind of could tell what it was going to be before it even was released. And my thoughts of it was that one of the main things was I didn't feel like they were going to continue the tone of this Arthur Fleck Joker. I thought they would pretty much have to change it because of the direction it went in the first film. And from what I could tell, I was pretty much right about that. Now, the second thing was the casting of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And my big fear when I heard this was that they weren't necessarily going to have Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. They were going to basically turn Harley Quinn into Lady Gaga. And from what I can tell, that is also something that happened where you have a lot of musical numbers and musical tones and out there style, which I'm a fan of. That's fine. But before I could even delve into it for my own, the reviews came back and people were not happy with this. It is considered one of the worst films and it did not do good at all at the box office. So that kind of killed any momentum that this property had. Now, the reason I'm talking about the property is because Warner Brothers seems to have, ever since this film came out, something against people producing any merchandise from this film. You don't see pops, you don't see buttons or posters. Anything you buy from the Joker film, you basically have to get from a third party or like a bootleg, which is one of the main reasons that I made this custom figure myself because I kind of knew we weren't going to get an Arthur Fleck Joker figure from Mattel. So, rumor is that Warner Brothers, whenever companies try and get the rights to this certain film to do merchandise from it, they are very tentative. And I don't know if they don't want to push this film. They don't want to push the story behind this film. Maybe the Joaquin rights are expensive, which could be another factor, but they are just very resistant on allowing people to make figures or pinwheels about the first Joker film. So you have to factor that in to McFarlane's final decisions. Now that'll take us right into the price point and what it comes with, which very interesting, but I don't think anybody should lose their minds. It is what it is. I mean, a lot of people didn't buy this awesome Batwing for $250 with no figure, I might add. It was just the Batwing, 250 plus shipping, and they are still selling at that exact same price. I think I saw somebody talking about figures and DC Multiverse, and they were lamenting the fact that they still didn't have a Batwing from the Flash film because they were waiting for it to go down in price, and it just stubbornly has not gone down in price. If you try and get it on the secondary market, it is basically like getting it straight from McFarlane. And you have to take into consideration that that Batwing was a McFarlane store exclusive. That is one of the reasons why it's very hard bring down the price point of that Batwing. Now, when you're looking at the set that is going to come with this Joker, you're looking at that, what's it, Murray Franklin figure, which is Robert De Niro. They had to pay for the likeness of that as well, I would assume. Tons of little accessories. You do get the set of the TV show, which is very intricate and has a lot of props and chairs and stuff like that. So I do get that. Now, the figures themselves are nothing spectacular. They are made on basically a lot of the three Jokers' bodies that we've received before. So nothing that's going to blow you away in the figures. But I mean, this may be the only time you will be able to buy these figures. There's not been a single release announced. I mean, if they were to do that, I think it would kind of put a little bit of stress on this release. So they might hold off on doing that for years if they do it at all. I have to think if that happens, it's going to be like one in a million. They're not going to release these figures alone. The whole point of this set was to get these figures out from a very reluctant Warner Brothers, and probably with a lot of influence from them and a lot of things that they wanted, even pertaining into the price point. So once you look at the figures and all that, nothing spectacular. The little talk show setup that they have, the desk and with everything that comes with it, that could be about 100. I would say stretching it. Maybe 150 would still be pretty tight because you do get the backdrop of the set, which is something normally I don't think they would put with a set like this. You did have that Joker from The Dark Knight where he's in the cell, and that was basically just a cardboard backdrop. While this one is actually in physical form, so you do know the price had to go up for that. And besides that, this may be a one shot mold, which is they made all this stuff knowing that it was only going to be a one production line. They're probably never going to use this again. I mean, it's a stretch if you think they will use it again. But that piles on to the price point. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the other things you get with this, which is a lot of movie memorabilia. You get like a notebook with all of Joker's writings. You get a metal plaque that comes with the set. Now, one thing about this is like I've been collecting movies for a long time. Kind of slowed down on that in the recent years, but one thing I do know if you collect any kind of physical media, and that is that sets that come with extras like books and any kind of accessories like pertaining to the film. So you're buying like a collector set. These are very expensive. The first thing that comes to mind to me is like one of the last sets that I bought was the Phantasm Globe set. I bought that at Best Buy, and it was like $100, and all it was the ball, a little stand, and the films all set inside of that in the base. But $100, and it's nothing very spectacular. But that is sometimes how it goes with movie memorabilia, movie stuff, is that it charges an absorbent amount of value, and that reflects on the retail price. So adding in all those factors, the figures you're getting, the set you're getting, the movie memorabilia, the fact that Warner Brothers really hates releasing anything from the Joker film, that is basically why you're looking at such a large price point, $250 plus shipping. Now, there is a silver lining in this after I've gone through all the negatives and spoken about how I feel about it, which is that this is the perfect time for people to either support something or not support it. They are going to tell real quick when they see the receipts of how many of these units sold, just how people felt about being or trying to be duped into buying figures that they really want with a bunch of extra stuff that really nobody asked for. And that's just going to have to be a learning lesson, not only for McFarlane, who probably had to do a lot of what Warner Brothers wanted, but also for Warner Brothers themselves, which is something that companies are really not good at in this day and age, is seeing their flaws, seeing what doesn't work and doesn't sell, and basically repeating it over and over again, which is a pretty stupid business model to go by. What you want to do is make something that sells, something that people want, and get it out there to the masses to be a profitable and successful company. And the last thing I want to talk about is just to keep everybody calm and don't get too excited. And that is that this is a mass release, which means these are going to be everywhere. I mean, basically, you're probably going to see this at FYE, at Best Buy, which could be another reason of the price point, but also takes us into the fact that eventually there will be so many of these that didn't sell that you're going to see the price go down. This is not going to be like the Batwing that the price never went down because it was a McFarlane store exclusive. This was produced in so many numbers for everyone that eventually in time it is going to go down in price. That is pretty much a for sure thing. All you have to do is settle down, control yourself, and you may eventually be able to pick this up for 150 or 199 if that's more your speed. Now, of course, we know for me, it's not about money. I have money, that's not a problem. The thing for me is to be a smart consumer, and that is another reason why I have told you guys before, platinums, gold editions, all you have to do is hold on, look at the prices online, make sure they're going down at a steady pace. And if you don't have to be the first one in your neighborhood to have it, or you don't need it for your channel to review, you don't have to double pay or triple pay to get a figure that you want. All you have to do is have a little bit of patience. So, anyways, guys, that's my thoughts. I did get this recommended to me online, so thank you to the people that asked me to do this video. Although I did have it planned, this kind of pushed me to go ahead and get it out to you guys. But as always, keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.